You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Edmonton Oilers Black Friday, and happy birthday, Cooom.
Thank you.
You're
Best
welcome.
Wishes.
When's your birthday?
May 13th.
Coming close.
Jeez, you almost got me there. That was actually your birthday.
Only
Wow.
7 months away.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, it's birthday season for me. It's completely reasonable to be thinking about what you're going to buy me, how you're going to, plan to celebrate.
Well, the sales are on. The sales are on over at nationgear.ca too, where you can still go and get your Decade of Darkness merchandise.
Pray for playoffs merchandise.
There's
Run it all back.
There's limited edition stuff going on at Nation Gear right now. Do any of you guys have black? What is it called again? Blackout.
Oh yes, blackout
gear.
The Black
Friday
Friday
gear.
It is, yes.
What do you think of it, Was?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
What's your favorite one?
Probably a sweater that says like Decade of Darkness on the back and something Glory Awaits or something.
Yeah.
There's been some pretty cool Black Friday releases by the Nation over the years, and this one's right up there. There was a years ago where we had like embossed logos come out, but since then it's just been kind of sizzling. This year, unreal stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is very good. That is limited edition.
Yeah.
Whatever's there, grab it while you
Don't
can,
miss out.
because it might just be next year when you get that back. But welcome into Oilersnation Radio. Bit of a different group today because we're doing this at 10:30 a.m.
We brought back an OG.
This is all the people that wake up early.
Yeah.
I've become an early riser. And that's the new thing this year is I'm trying not to get seasonal depression by waking up early and watching the sunrise. And it's helping.
There you go. Smart.
I'll have to try that. I woke up at 7 this morning. I saw the sun still wasn't up. I'm like, this is weird.
Well, I woke up early too because I've run into a bit of a problem at my place with a hot water tank.
Oh, that's not ideal, is
It
it?
doesn't work.
No.
So
Exploded?
it was on the verge of
Oh well, at least it
exploding.
didn't do that. That's
So
good.
got ahead of the problem. So now I have to drive to my parents the last couple of days to have a quick shower.
Wow.
So I've had some great morning coffees.
You not
with my
live near like a rec center? Go to like Millennium Place and just have your shower there, sit in the tub
point.
maybe.
But
Get
then
warm for the day.
My girlfriend did suggest to me that we go out to the rec center and we could have a hot tub.
Exactly.
That's a great idea, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind
Get
of
your
time.
day moving at the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Like every show.
Producer budget here. Come on.
We'll start out with a delicious debate, which is brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy team this year with the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. For those of you who want to smoke the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that will have you winning despite your lack of team-building skills, Cooom. Download the Wendy's app, score yourself 150 bonus points on your first order. There is so much to read in this ad read. But anyway, whatever. We'll skip to the question. How can the Oilers get back on track? The Oilers are what? 5-12-1, I think, now to start the season.
Yep, that's right.
Their chances of making the playoffs on, is it Puck?
It was Money Puck.
Money Puck?
Yeah, there you go.
Now down to 45.5% after Wednesday's
Yeah,
loss.
but what did those idiots say we were going to do at the start of the season?
It's true. What
true,
do they
actually.
know? What do they know? Washington today, obviously coming up in just over 2 hours. We'll have a watch along for that too. So come check that out on YouTube. But Cooom, we'll start with you. How can the Oilers get back on track?
There's many things to consider for that question. There is a lot of things they're doing wrong, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to sit down and pinpoint one specific thing. The goaltending hasn't been good enough. Defensive zone play hasn't been good enough. Maybe the system isn't good enough. They're learning a new one again, it seems like. They learned a new one at the beginning of the season. They struggled with it. Now it's time to switch it up again. And, there just isn't that much buy-in. It looks like a group that's played terrible hockey for 2 months, and they're not feeling good about themselves. So many things need to be fixed. I'd say the easiest one would just be get a heater from your goalie. Whether it's Stuart, Skinner, Cal Picard, whether Jack Campbell comes back up and does it, someone needs to go on a heater and save this team.
Which they kind of got for 3 games.
They did.
And they won all 3 games.
Yep.
So Skinner, I don't think it was his fault last game, but I don't think he's like away from
They
the
just got
problems either. They were just bad. Dan, what do you think? Can the Edmonton Oilers get back on track, or are we doomed for what's his name, Celebrini?
Max Celebrini. Well, I said this on ONE the other day, my first ever appearance on the show with you, Liam.
People liked it.
Well,
people are big fans.
They try, at least for a little bit until I start saying some stuff that upsets them, and then it'll be done. But for me, it's this team. Like we literally, every one of us is going to go around the table and we're going to say what we think is wrong with the team, and we're right. It just continues to pile up, and I see reporters throwing out their ideas. Some reporters have run out of questions, but some reporters are still throwing out ideas to try and, it feels like, nibble around the edge of the problem without making too much of an impact. I'm at the point where, like Cooom said, you've lost so much emotion, you've lost so much give a shit, that like it's either boom or bust now with the move that you make to make a splash here. I think that if we go out and we get Patrick Maroon, love the guy, we go out and we get Corey Perry, I think you're just sticking another finger in the dam, and there's going to be another leak that springs somewhere else, and we're just going to be back at square one. So nibbling around the edges isn't for me. Time to make a big splash, or don't do anything at all and let this team just flail and fizzle out.
Those rumors are super weird. The Patrick Maroon, like the Corey Perry one, it's kind of just speculation based off what's happening. We don't really know what's going on there. Super weird situation. They refused to comment on it again today.
But it does have like an old school GM feel to it, right? Yeah. Bring in a guy that has done this before and has won championships, and he's going to fix things. Paul Coffey has won a few championships. He's now behind the bench, hasn't fixed things. Chris Knobloch has won a few things in his time. He's not fixing things behind this bench. I don't know. It's like
bringing in Duncan Keith almost.
I just hate saying over and over again, death by 1,000 cuts, but it really feels like that, and one fix ain't going to stop the 1,000 other cuts.
I can think of one. There's one player that could go out that would fix all of this. It's Brandon Manning.
Well,
yes.
Therein lies the issue too, and it highlights the problem is you've got Ken Holland playing out the rest of his contract. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody in Edmonton believes that Ken Holland is getting re-signed as the GM.
I don't think he's currently the GM.
So what? No. So
By
what are we?
Only.
So why are we letting him be the one that makes the solution here?
I'm 100% with you. I think the fact Ken Holland is still the general manager in quotations of this team is outrageous. To be honest, like you made your bed when you fired Jay Woodcroft, Jeff Jackson. Fire Ken Holland, putting him out of his misery, put all of us out the misery, at least bring like a little bit of hope of like new ideas to come in. Also, hiring Dave Gagne, I don't know if that's the best idea either. But Woz, what do you think? How can the Oilers save themselves if they even can?
Well, honestly, last season we were kind of in the similar spot where we were just a little bit inconsistent. The only thing last season that was really a difference maker was the power play. The power play was clicking. It was kind of bailing out at the Oilers for the most part. Point. And, this year we've had plenty of chances on the power play to score. And, if we had the power play from last year, this season, we probably wouldn't be in this mess that we are in right now. So I think, there's no solution right now in terms of, goaltending sure can be better, defense can be better, but if the power play can start clicking just a little bit more similar to last season, I think the Oilers would be winning a few more games and kind of give themselves a bit of a lifeline.
Do you think they should change the power play, the first unit?
That's tough to say.
They went 1 for 4 last game, so it has been a little bit better. I'm not disagreeing with you.
What's the power play right now?
It is, what is it? Hyman in front, Nuge on the one side, Draisaitl in his office, which isn't really his office anymore, and then McDavid buzzing around, Bush at the top.
I don't know. I think you need to keep Nugent Hopkins on the power play for sure. Hyman's always been key on it. Like it's really tough because it worked so well last season. I know it's not working right now, but I think the issue with the power play right now is that it's not quick enough. It's definitely slowed down a bit compared to last year. They're not as crisp with their passes. They're not doing tic-tac-toe plays as we've seen them do before. It's a lot of things that just like I feel like teams have maybe almost figured them out. They know how to kind of just put a stop to the power play and slow it down a bit. So maybe they just have to change up how they run it, because at times it feels like the way they start the power play is that they'll just kind of give it to McDavid. McDavid will go through the neutral zone, try to beat.
I think that's already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly think Knobloch has come in and killed that out of the power play. But I'm with you, Woz. Like, for us as fans with Woodcroft, the guy was blending the lines all the time. But one thing that always stayed exactly the same and stagnant, you could argue this season, was that power play. Mm-hmm. Liam and I now for a couple episodes of this podcast have been clamoring for a power play change of some sort. Like even if you change it for today's game and it doesn't work, you can go back to the other one next game. Nothing changes.
Do it for like 2 power plays this game if you have to, and see what happens.
The thing is, last season the goaltending wasn't perfect, the defense wasn't perfect, but the power play was bailing them out. This year, everything is going wrong. Obviously, McDavid is not producing. Draisaitl is not producing. It's a tough situation where you do need your systems to kind of improve a bit, because right now doesn't seem to be a trade on the horizon as far as we know. Anything could happen, but a trade is not. A trade's not Corey Perry. A trade is not.
Manning.
Yep, maybe Brandon Manning.
Alex Petrovich.
You never know.
Re-sign Mikko Koskinen.
All I'm saying
Spooner?
is a deal is not
agent.
going to save this team. It has to come internally, as we've heard in the rumors recently.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later on, but anything else you guys would like to add to this delicious
What about you,
debate
Liam?
presented by Wendy's? Oh, yeah. What do I think? How do they turn things around? I don't think this team's making the playoffs as much as like people don't want to hear it. Like, they have the second worst win percentage through 18 games since 2005. No, the other 4 teams in the bottom 5 also didn't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disaster. This whole season is a disaster. I think they need to retool on the fly. I don't think they're going to do that today, but in like 2 or 3 weeks, if things continue to go sideways, then Fogle has to go or be considered to go. They basically, you can't just sit on your hands and wait for things to get better, because we're through 18 games now, and the best period we've had in a losing game was last game.
Yeah.
It's taken 18 games to show any kind of effort in a defeat, you know, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, unfortunately. I think Skinner's just becoming inconsistent. The blue line isn't strong enough, although I think we've seen a bit of improvement from Cody Ceci. Ekholm doesn't look quite the same. Donald's actually been decent. I don't think Vincent Desharnais is an everyday defenseman. I think they need to find ways to create money for themselves so that they can worry about next season, and hope that you can show Leon Draisaitl the rest of the way that you are building towards something better than what you have right now. That would be my biggest goal right now, is trying to convince Leon Draisaitl this is the place you need to go. And then once you get Draisaitl, I think McDavid's staying. Is that fair?
I mean, like, that sounds good, but the team has to be good. Jeff Jackson has to be willing to fire the GM, and then the team has to be willing to stomach that. And I just don't know if they are. I feel like there's still a team that's going to hold on to this, cup contender, champion contender mantra until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
And do you know what, too? Like, you can do this and still give yourself hope the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you can push till the playoffs to the last day, like Florida did, and people want to compare that to the Oilers too, but it's like, I don't think Florida had this kind of stretch, did they?
You can miss the playoffs and not blow it up, right?
Yeah,
like Tampa
exactly.
missed the playoffs, won a few years
Colorado
later.
got Colorado.
Vegas did.
Liam, we were talking about this, I think, yesterday. Colorado 2017, terrible season. They draft Cale Makar. I don't think there's a Cale Makar. Yeah, so I don't think there's a Cale Makar in this draft, obviously, for the Oilers. But
there is a Celebrini.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
To be fair, I don't think they knew there was a Cale Makar in Cale Makar's draft.
That's for sure. He kind of set expectations no one ever.
I think you just wait for the offseason to kind of make your big changes. Like, you don't need to trade a first-round pick and Xavier
100%.
Bourgault to dump Jack Campbell when you can buy him out in the offseason. And it's not that bad of a penalty.
I think that's the reality of the situation, is the Oilers might need to do a soft retool in the offseason, a soft rebuild of some sorts. Just get rid of the players who are not performing and who are not...
Do it now.
You could, but yeah, I'm just wondering.
I know what you're saying,
it's
but
November, right? So it's like, okay, well.
So you've upcoming free agents, Warren Fogle, who has, he have 14 points in 18 games this season? He's probably got first round pick value, pretty close. Matthias Janmark, you can get rid of him. Then you also have Connor Brown, who I don't know how this works. Maybe you know, Cooom, but I'm pretty sure they can create room this season to put his bonus on, right?
Yeah, if they can shed enough contracts, so if they can shed the entirety of Brown's performance bonus plus all the other bonuses they're going to have to kick over for next year, so think of your entry-level contracts, Holloway, Broberg. If you can get underneath that, so you're going to have to look at getting rid of guys like, you'd have to get rid of Fogle, maybe a Kulak, a CC, guys like that. Then you can fit Brown's performance bonus. It's not a problem next year.
That needs to be priority number one, basically, right? To try and avoid that dead cap. Vincent Desharnais has had interest shown to him from the Toronto Maple Leafs earlier in the season for Sam Lafferty. And then, of course, you have Calvin Pickard, who I'm sure teams will be clamoring for pretty quick. Yeah.
Jack Campbell, yeah.
One performance, yeah.
But there you go. Like, the Oilers have options to kind of retool this thing on the fly. But
Don't trade the first round pick.
No,
Don't trade
it might
the
be like
first
a
round
top 3 pick.
Yeah. Do not trade that thing. Don't trade it.
If you do, it's lottery
yeah,
protected.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's top 10 protected, you can switch it next year, maybe. But don't attach that thing to get rid of Campbell. Don't attach that thing to buy a rental. Hang on to that pick. You're going to need it in the summer.
Yes, 100%. So there you go. Delicious debate brought to you by Wendy's. Next, we'll ask you, was you specifically, and we'll go around the horn.
Nice.
Who delivered? Presented by DoorDash for a limited time. Our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code NATION25 in all caps. That's 25% off up to $10 in value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and use code NATION25 all caps. Who delivered? It doesn't have to be anything good. Could be bad.
Oh,
it doesn't even have to be the Oilers.
Who delivered? I will give it to. Okay, can I give it to Calvin Pickard?
Yeah, you can.
He's showing up a bit. You know, should he be starting a game or two here? Probably, but the same breath, it's like he's showing up when he needs to. He's giving this. He's made some big saves here and there. For a backup, he's doing his role.
Yep, I like that one. Cooom, could be anything. Doesn't have to be the Oilers.
Jeez, man, who's delivered? The weather this year winter's been great.
Winter has
We've
been
been
nice.
delivered some really nice weather, I guess. That's usually my fallback.
Thank you, Planet Earth.
Yeah, that's always a good one. This was the first time this winter. I've used quotations 3 times this show. We're only
And you're
17
not
minutes
on
in.
any cameras.
No.
There you go. Perfect.
First time today I had to scrape frost off my car.
Yeah,
Well, what are we?
bad this
November 24th? That's not bad.
Yeah, so we've been delivered a nice bill of weather so far in the
Yeah.
winter. Knock on wood.
Shout out weather. Dan?
Well, you know what? It's going to go. I'm going to steal a little bit of yours, 50% of yours, in Pickard and Skinner. I'm going to give it to both the goalies for coming out in a week where all of a sudden the answer was, after firing Woodcroft, we're going to go and get a goalie, and that's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
They've come out and they've delivered enough that every fan, I think, to a person has gone around and said, I don't know if a goalie would fix everything here. And so we've been able to kind of quell that stupid trade rumor that we were going to go ahead and make a big move on. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to both goalies for delivering performances that allowed us an opportunity to win each hockey game, and the team blew it for them.
Yeah, I'm off the goalie train as well, which we'll get to again. 2 people now have teased what I'm going to. Have you guys read my script?
No, didn't read the script ahead of time this time.
My Who Delivered, presented by DoorDash, are the Montreal Canadiens fans that absolutely crapped on my parade on Wednesday, I think. So thanks for the views. That was big of you all. I put out a mock trade. It had, I think, 45 likes on Twitter and 180 comments.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
So get
I
ratio.
believe they call that
Liam.
ratio, yeah.
But also,
neck.
yeah. Thank you very much for the 170,000 impressions.
Wow.
Thank you, Montreal.
What was your
Beef sells records, baby.
I know you don't want to bring it, but Cooom, can you kind of? I want to know your opinion on this trade from Liam.
Oh, you want me to tell him?
Yeah, say it again.
Let's run it back.
You're,
Let's double
you're
down.
great at breaking down
He
trades.
hasn't
I'm
been
gonna say
yelled
it's
at.
a good proposal.
He
no
hasn't
matter
been
what.
yelled at enough, so let's go.
So this trade is supposed to be mirrored around what the LA Kings were able to do with Cal Peterson. So for people that don't know, we spoke about it before, but when Cal Peterson was traded, he had 2 years left on a $5 million contract per year, which the only difference between him and Campbell has this season left. So my
And
trade,
age.
this was before the Florida game, which really didn't make any difference. Jack Campbell, Ryan McLeod, a first, a second, whatever it is, and then like a third or a fourth, whatever the picks were, just 2 picks to Montreal for Samuel Montembeault and Sean Monahan.
Doesn't seem that crazy.
It's not
to
that
me.
crazy.
I don't think it's
Outrageous,
insane.
Liam.
No,
It's-
I don't think
It
it's
probably
crazy
favors Edmonton a little bit, but I don't think it's outrageous.
I don't think it's crazy either. If you throw in, like, say you throw in a high mid-level C prospect of like maybe like a Philip Kemp for Max Warner or something like that, I think that actually
And it had
balances out
Edmonton's
pretty
first
well.
round pick,
Yeah, I
right?
think
Yes.
So you were willing to get rid of Edmonton's first round pick, and you didn't put like a lottery protection on it. So Montreal could,
I just said,
Montreal could be getting a top 5 pick here, and they're whining about that. Why?
Yeah.
Do they have any aspirations of being competitive anytime soon? Why can't they take on Campbell's contract?
Believe it or not, they were pretty defensive of their own players.
I guess they think that
They think Montembeault is
good goalie.
legit, and they fail to realize that Sean Monahan gets injured every time he gets a paper cut.
Which is hilarious
So-
because they are also carrying 3 goalies at the current moment.
Exactly.
And
So-
but in their defense, they don't give a shit about the season. So
But on top of that, too, the 3 goalies thing that benefits this as well is the fact you can just send Campbell down. And then you can just play Allen and
you can put him on
Primo
waivers
pass
again.
him.
You don't have to. You could,
wonder
and he's
if
going to
it's-
pass them every time.
Yes.
Ryan McLeod that kind of weighs it down because he hasn't been producing at all. He doesn't produce much, right?
Maybe, but also it's a team-friendly deal for a team that has a good center depth anyway, that you could just throw him on your 4th line for $2 million, and he's only 24. Maybe a change of scenery. Like, it definitely benefits the Oilers in terms of the players they get. But in that sense, too, you look at the LA Kings trade, and they got, like, a random prospect.
I'm just saying,
they traded
Liam,
away.
in the future, think more of the market that you're going to.
I know.
Offer Raph Lavoie, and that would have fixed
yeah.
everything.
Get Olivier
Rodriguez
Rodrigue
there.
Any
If you
of
put
those
Lavoie, it would have broke the internet
Vinny
in Montreal.
Darnay's works too.
Olivier Waugh?
You would have flipped that ratio instantaneously.
Marc-Andre Bergeron?
Parlez-vous en français?
Although, I once interviewed Xavier Bourgault, or Xavier Bourgault,
Yeah.
as his real name is. And I asked him, I was like, oh, so you must be like a big Habs fan. He's like, no, I love the Boston Bruins. So take that, Montreal.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, East Canada. I used to live in Halifax. I don't know if you knew that, Liam. But
You're from Halifax?
Yeah, I lived in
had no
Halifax.
idea.
Not from there, but lived
never
there.
mentioned that.
I lived there. Yeah, no, I've never brought that up
Nova
on a
Scotia?
podcast.
Never
before.
brought it up.
Halifax, Nova Scotia, correct. A lot of people out there, I think, are anti-Habs fans because Habs fans are dying.
Yeah.
They're dying off. That's a known fact.
Oh, I don't know about that. They're starting to grow
I've
now.
mentioned it on this podcast many times.
I don't know about that.
Is there Habs fans that listen to this podcast?
Not anymore because they're all dead.
Do you think they want to be reminded, speaking of the Boston Bruins, that they could have drafted Patrice Bergeron and didn't?
That
sucks.
probably a
I'll
fair
just-
point.
Why
I'll
didn't
just
you
say
draft
Habs fan TV on social is really like growing the fan base again. It's been a nice revival, it seems.
Well, what do they think about Liam's trade proposal?
I don't know. I have to
Ask
talk to
Habs
them.
fan.
They should.
I
accept
didn't
Jack
look at. I
Campbell.
didn't look at the quote tweet, so you might have.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry
You
about
might
it.
have already gone after.
Did you not learn about reading the comments?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
I fought back. I fought back hard.
Ooh.
I love it when people are like, this is a dumb trade. And you're like, okay, then what would you do? And then there's no response.
No,
Yeah.
It's
no.
perfect. No one thinks. Although, I will say to back up my own point too, Frank Saravalli came on Owen every day and said it would only take a first and a third to get rid of Campbell.
So you were giving Montreal a sweetheart deal, and their fans were melting down.
I know.
It's pathetic.
Could you believe it? Could you believe it?
On the internet,
Embarrassing.
for the first time ever, people had an irrational reaction.
I know.
They're not
Well,
open-minded, are they?
that'll be a memory I will remember forever, thanks to our friends at Alberta Blue Cross.
That was great.
There's only
Well,
one
good
thing
plug.
better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross travel insurance protects your memories and more wherever travel takes you. And they'll be taking us to Arizona. Do they play in Phoenix, or is it one of those suburbs? Do they play in Tempe? I think they play in
Technically, I
Tempe.
think it's Tempe.
Yeah. Either
But,
way,
It's,
I think we'll
Arizona
be
State
staying.
campus now.
Yeah, I think we'll be staying in Phoenix, wherever we're going. Go check it out.
You guys are staying downtown Tempe, I believe.
They have a downtown in Tempe. I thought it was like Sherwood
That's where the
Park.
nightlife is.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, they have it, folks. That explains why it's his college campus there.
Yeah, you guys will be partying. You'll be able to party on the campus at Mullet Arena, and I think there's some cool bars in and around that area.
You should audit a course. You should just show up
Yeah.
to like a 400 level political science course.
But
Oh, I thought
could
you
go
meant a
to the
golf course
University
because they have a
Phoenix
lot of
from
golf
here.
courses down there.
No, I was talking about a university course on campus.
A University of Phoenix course, highly reputable university.
Yes.
If you want a diploma from a diploma farm.
So I'm going to ask you your most memorable thing about somebody after I read this quote and we get some thoughts on it for our friends at Alberta Blue Cross. So this is from Elliotte Friedman. Elliotte Friedman's 32 Thoughts article that he released last night. Edmonton's first option in goal is hoping Jack Campbell rediscovers his game in the American Hockey League. As one executive likes to say, you can either solve your problems or trade your problem. The first method is always better. After a rough start of a 4.36 goals against average and a .819 save percentage in 3 games for Jack Campbell, he did manage to turn it around and get a 30-save shutout on Tuesday against the Henderson Silver Knights. Oilers continue to address and figure out the situation. Thoughts on the Oilers giving Jack Campbell another chance? Dan.
Well, I mean, I was asked this question, I think, on Tuesday on this podcast. What do we think we do with Jack Campbell? I said then, and I believe it to this day, he's going to be back on this team at some point.
But is that the right thing? Should they give him another chance?
Of course. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, you have the guy on your team. You're paying him $5 million. If he seems to figure it out, I'm not saying. I made the jokes. I made all the jokes of Jack Campbell shuts out the Vegas Golden Knights farm team, and all of a sudden he's back in our mix. I think that's not the case. But he strings together a couple of outings in the AHL. Why not? What is it going to hurt to bring him back up on this team and then maybe put him on waivers again, and maybe somebody takes a shot?
What if
Give
it
it a
was
chance.
Cal Picard on waivers?
I'm really
That would be the worst part. It might
be the worst thing to happen all year.
well, because then Rodriguez gets his shot. So I don't know. Like, I'm not devastated if Picard goes.
I'm 100% joking.
Yes. I think who's the best goalie that was on the?
It was they lost Anton Forsberg on waivers.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nedeljkovic was also one.
It's all been downhill since then.
But that was the COVID nightmare that they. Nobody thought that goalies would get passed around like cheap bucks during COVID.
Well, there was a goalie who was recently on waivers who was supposed to be picked up. Zach mentioned his name. What's Sandstorm? I think.
Felix Sandstrom.
Yeah,
Yes, Sandstorm.
I don't know how much of a difference he would have made.
Yaroslav Halak is available. I'm just saying.
Hey, Mikko Koskin's out there too, right? So
yeah, there's a lot of people that could hypothetically play in net for the team.
But Jack Campbell is under contract, and he's on our farm team. And if he continues to perform down there, why not let Rodriguez
at least
continue?
a few good starts, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs like 5 in a row.
He needs
1,000%.
We were talking about this before. Me and Liam were talking about this before the show, and it's like you got to consider with the AHL, Henderson might have been on the bus for 30 hours before that game. And this is just like this is the context. Like
it's like going into Winnipeg.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is Henderson? Is it in?
It's in
Nevada.
It's in northern
Is
Nevada.
it by Vegas? Yeah.
No, it's north of.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit north.
Yeah.
Do you remember actually when
It's
we
closer
were
to
on,
like Sacramento, I think, in
Really?
California.
Do you remember when we were on a nation vacation in Vegas and Jared met Fred Brathwaite
He could play in net for the
at
Oilers.
the Henderson? I think he's like the assistant GM of the Henderson Silver Knights.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And he like took a picture. He's like, I met Fred Brathwaite.
No, I don't remember that.
All right on Jared.
met-
Cooom, Jack Campbell's return. Yay or nay? Or oh my goodness, what are we doing?
It's got to be at least a handful of good starts. He had 3 bad starts and 1 good one so far. There has to be more good starts than bad starts. And so there has to be 2 things. Campbell has to be good in the AHL, and Picard has to be bad in the NHL.
Yeah.
Picard has to at least have like a couple of starts where you're like, wow, this guy is not NHL playable. I think you have to have Campbell kind of earning his shot back.
I think that's a layer to it no one's really thinking about is what if Cal Peterson is just good?
Sure.
He's had 2
Calvin
games.
Picard,
What's that, Cal Peterson?
said-
Sorry, I just
stuck in
need
your
this
head.
trade to go through my head.
Yeah, yeah.
What if Calvin Picard is just good? It's
possible. Yeah.
2
Second round
starts
pick.
now, or 2 games. He's been decent. The Florida game, probably want 1 back, but he gave the Oilers a very good chance to win. That's a 1-goal game. And he allows 1 goal against a Carolina team that just lit up the Oilers the first period. He looked
after
good.
coming in relief of Skinner. I thought he was fine. I'm gonna give him a run, man. See, the
Who
trouble
knows?
with this is they lean on Skinner so hard, and it's like he's gonna burn out, man. That's what happened last year. He played so many games.
Yeah.
The playoffs roll around, and he's never played that many games before.
Yeah,
Like you look at what the LA Kings did last season again, where they started the goalie their season with Cal Peterson, Jonathan Quick, and finished with Corpusalo and Phoenix Copley. And nobody thought Phoenix Copley was going to be anything. And I don't think he's a great goalie, but he gave him a hell of a run.
Yeah, he came in and won like 9 out of 10 games.
Yeah, I think he finished the season with 19 wins and 2 losses, something stupid like that. I'll have a quick look. But what do you think was?
basically what Cam said. You just want to get some consistency from Jack Campbell in the AHL before making a little bit of a risky move in the trade market, because I think the Oilers are ultimately very scared to give up assets right now, considering where they are in the standings. They're like, well, we could have something in the offseason and try to work out with that. So they don't want to give up too much right now. So finding a little bit of consistency in Jack Campbell's game is probably the safe play. And knowing the Oilers are actually not very reactionary under Ken Holland. They don't really go out and make moves in November, December. They'll wait closer to the deadline to potentially make a move. And I know fans are clamoring for moves right now. We need to trade this and do this and go after this guy. But it's realistically, you don't see that happening in the NHL. How many NHL teams really go make big goalie splashes? I mean, the Oilers are maybe in a very unique situation, right? So ideally, you need to see Jack Campbell get some consistent form in the AHL, bring him back up, see if it translates a little bit. You know, you don't want the Jack Campbell of October. You want the Jack Campbell of maybe
September.
Last January.
Preseason Jack Campbell.
Yeah, honestly. So, and Skinner, he will never admit that he got burnt out in playoffs, but he probably did. Like, I remember his post-game press conference after the playoffs. He's like, I didn't get burnt out. I just wasn't playing well in that night. I don't know, man. You seemed a little off. So, let's go ahead.
I was going to say last season, Phoenix Copley had 24 wins, 6 losses, and 3 overtime losses.
That's what we need from Cal Picard. That's all we
Well,
need. It's a small ask. It's reasonable.
Another way to look at it is Aiden Hill for the Vegas Knights. He was right. He just kind of got thrown into a situation that no one really expected him to be the goaltender to win the Golden Knights of Stanley Cup. Who was Laurent Brossoit, who was between the pipes for the most part.
Yeah, Brossoit, then he got injured against the Oilers in
Logan
game 2.
Thompson as well earlier in the year.
Logan Thompson. It was him or Skinner for the Calder between the goalies, I think, that season. So if you look at Aiden Hill, like he got picked up off waivers or something, I believe.
He was traded for a 4th round pick from San Jose, I think.
So and look at him now. Thriving.
Where is it? Yeah, 4th round pick in this upcoming draft. This season, Aiden Hill in 12 games has a .932 save percentage.
He did have a pretty good defense in front of him. So
the Golden Knights are a team, man. They know what they're doing.
And that's the thing. Any goalie the Oilers bring in, the question is, can they sustain decent goaltending in front of that defense? I don't think there's a single goalie on the market that the Oilers have been linked to who will perform well in front of our current defense.
I'm with you, brother.
They need Dominic Hasek from the late 90s. Can they trade for him?
That would be. Hey, you could trade for him. Ken knows him. Ken knows him.
He was a Red Wing.
He was a Red Wing. You may have heard. So now I ask you for your Blue Cross most memorable Jack Campbell moment. Cooom, you look like you're ready for this.
I felt he had some good performances in the playoffs as a relief goalie, not relief goalie, relief pitcher. What am I saying? In relief of Stuart Skinner in the playoffs, that was great. I also allowed myself to get on the Jack Campbell Revenge Tour bandwagon in September. I thought that was fun.
It was full.
He was, yeah. It was. We wanted to believe, man. We're on board. So I can't take responsibility for this. That's what I remember from Jack Campbell, the Revenge Tour that lasted just the preseason.
I'll say his game against Nashville this season was pretty sweet. That seemed like it was going to be a bit of a turning point. 43 saves on 44 shots. Stood on his head. Then in his next start, I think he allowed 5 in the third period to Minnesota.
Minnesota game,
yeah, that was sick. Dan, a quick moment from Jack Campbell that you remember?
Yeah, it was the day he signed.
Yeah, that was big. We were all here.
We were all jacked for it. And
Jack
see what I did
Campbell?
See what I did there?
We created the Soup and Stew shirts instantly.
And everything was coming together. It was looking great, and we were making Leaf fans look like idiots.
Yeah, I had my Infinity Gauntlet meme made ready to go, and then the others didn't get Connor Brown like we thought they were going to do that season. He went to Washington.
If the Oilers had just done what I'd done the year before, right before the trade deadline, and gone and got Connor Hellebuck, we wouldn't be talking like this.
What were we thinking? Quick Jack Campbell memory, good or bad?
I'll just go to last January where he kind of popped off for a few games where the Oilers, I think, won like 7 in a row or 6 games with Jack Campbell, and I was like, oh, that's the soup we were hoping for. He's here now, and then things started to kind of derail a bit. That's also when Vincent Desharnais came into the picture as well.
That was true.
So
didn't lose a game.
Yeah, exactly. Vinny, we win here.
Vinny was the answer.
Vinny, we winning.
And then maybe recently the good memory was the second period against the Minnesota Wild where he was making insane saves, and then it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
So very brief moments. Also, I'll give a little credit to Leafs fans about Jack Campbell because I think they did try to warn us about him. It's like, he's not as good as you think. He's had some issues, and we're kind of like, we'll be fine.
Nobody listened when Leafs fans, like, the thing was Campbell played well when the team was really good defensively. The Leafs were a good defensive team for a few years, and nobody believed it. And they're like, no, Campbell's doing well in a good defensive system.
Yeah.
Sheldon Keefe's a good defensive coach. And no one believed it. And he came here in front of a
Now
team
here
that
we
doesn't
are.
play good defense, and it's a whole different animal.
Now here we are with Jack Campbell with a, what did I say, an 819 save percentage in his first 3 games in the American League.
What's Happy Bullen doing now these days?
I think he's in jail.
I don't think that's the case, but thank you, Liam.
Can we bust him out and put him between the pipes and Washington?
That was an era of Oilers hockey. I think Dan probably remembers that well.
Please don't sue us.
I really do. Yep.
Just before we move on to Ask the Idiots, another note from the 32 Thoughts article was on Leon Draisaitl. Eligible for an extension in July. Made it very clear before the season what he loved about the organization is that everything and everyone is about winning, ironically. That's what he wants. That's what he craves. As long as that's the focus, he's good. McDavid is no different. He's miserable when they lose, and they don't hide it very well. He's not going to like being seen as the kingmaker either, which previously in the article he just spoke about how everyone thinks McDavid's manipulated the organization, which is far from the truth. If you believe that, give your head a shake. Right?
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
but is that okay? And I don't want to. We don't need to go down too deep of a wormhole
Well,
here.
you
But
thought.
is he stirring up? Are we stirring up something by going too far that way now too?
Yes.
100%.
By bringing
I
in
just
too many
don't think-
McDavid connections.
Oh, the organization?
Yes.
But in the same breath.
But what if
wanna
he's not
keep that guy
demanding? What
happy.
if they're just doing it?
I know that's what I'm saying is like even for the perception now for him, is he worried that he's gonna have to stick around in this organization that is his fingerprints
I
everywhere?
think-
Yeah, maybe.
I
don't
think
know.
that's where
It's always been that way though, because he was involved with Mac T getting booted out and
Yep.
McClellan coming in, Chiarelli coming
Hall
in.
going.
He was okay with Holland. Yeah, there's always been the talk about Taylor Hall. He okayed that as well. Like,
Yep.
it's not new.
The only one that seems to have been not, I don't want to say on McDavid's call, but like he wasn't happy Woodcroft left.
No.
That was very
He was
apparent.
a big fan of the Brandon Manning move.
Yeah, he liked that one. He approved it.
He made it himself. He went into Chiarelli's office, kicked the door down, and said, "We have to get Brandon fucking Manning."
Yes, he did. Sorry, Waz, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's a tough situation for Connor McDavid because in the same breath as management, you do want to get your best player's opinion on moves. Hey, should we trade this guy? What do you think about this guy? What do you think about this move? It's very normal to get their thoughts and opinions, but to have them making decisions, I think is very false. I don't think that's the truth of it. Like, it's Connor McDavid. I think Jeff Jackson needs to have a discussion with Connor McDavid. Hey, are you okay that we don't get your opinion on moves going forward? Because clearly it's creating a narrative in the media.
Well, apparently Jeff Jackson doesn't ask anybody anything according to his press conference.
He asked me.
Doesn't
Just does
consult
his
a single
thing.
person.
He
No.
texts me every time.
Ask
That's
the
good
Idiots.
decision-making process. That's great.
Ask the Idiots, presented by Oilers Nation, Pack the Nation Truck, Food Bank Drive, presented by Sean
Okay,
Ford.
I have to say that is right up there with the Michael Scott Run for the Cure. It's so
The
good.
rabies
I
cure.
love
Nation
this.
Party Leafs again.
Yes, it's so good. Read it again, Liam.
Oilers Nation, Pack the Nation Truck, Food Bank, Food Drive, presented by Sherwood Ford, the Giant.
To cure the lack of
hunger.
food in society.
Yes.
In a pair of
Wow, I love it.
We'll
do it
just
again,
call it-
Liam. What is it? One more time, Liam.
I don't have time.
One
to
more
keep
time,
reading
Liam.
we're on.
One more time.
It is now presented by Pack the Nation Truck, associated with Sherwood Ford the Giant. There you go. The food banks in Edmonton and surrounding areas are in need of food and donations more than ever in the holiday season. Oilers Nation and our awesome local partners are going to Pack the Nation Truck. Thanks to Sherwood Ford.
It's such an important thing.
Oh,
It
yeah,
really
big
is.
time.
The food banks around the country, but especially in Edmonton and area, have been saying that they're 2 or 3 months away from no food kind of thing on the shelves. So yeah, it's important. It's time to do it. I joke. We laugh at the title being a mouthful, but
It's serious cause.
but we're
for sure.
trying to do something here. So let's have some fun with it and let's stuff that truck.
Let's
So-
give everyone a mouthful of food.
Yeah. there you go. So you can go to Sherwood Ford in Sherwood Park, Wilhock Beef Jerky in Leduc, Sports Closet, which is at the St. Albert Mall. If you're going to the Sherwood Park one, just wait till around 5 o'clock tonight when I get the box. Greta, downtown, Dog Patch and Bread and Butter. Maybe when you'll see one of us. I
All
don't know.
around the city.
All around
can
the city. You can
deliver
also
it.
just donate straight to it yourself
Yep.
as well. You
Hey,
don't
that's
have to
true. Yeah, you don't
necessarily
have to
do
go
it
through us. Please don't.
We're doing this until the 27th, which would be Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
First, Ask the Idiots question. Should be a quick one. Will Tyler come back from New York City engaged? The way he described the trip on Monday night's pod, I got the feeling that he might have been planning this from Steven. I'll be honest, I did not get that vibe from him at all. Dan, as someone on the podcast, do you expect Tyler come back from New York engaged despite now being in Philadelphia?
The rumors,
Not engaged, by
have
the
been
way.
swirling for years that he already is engaged and that this is all just a giant facade that he's pulled on you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with that.
Coom?
I don't think Tyler's real.
Yeah, that's fair too. Was?
No, I don't think Tyler will, because everyone kind of expects it, and he doesn't want people to expect it.
He's also, again, in Philadelphia and not engaged. Question number 2 from Aiden. Was, we'll start with you.
Aiden Hill?
Yeah, I think so. Who/what are the Oilers' most likely trade chips? Who you got?
Right now, I hate to say it, but Ryan McLeod is definitely one. He's someone who I've really, loved seeing the organization develop over the years. Unfortunately, his offense hasn't been there, and that's been an issue. Defensively, Ryan McLeod is actually very solid. He's probably one of the best two-way forwards on the Oilers last season. I think he had one of the best puck retrievals that weren't Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So NHL said a couple months ago, wrote a great article on Ryan McLeod and what he actually does well. So if a team is looking for a nice two-way third-line center, that's Ryan McLeod. I think he's a good trade chip.
Last season, Ryan McLeod had 11 goals, 23 points in 57 games. This season, 18 games played, no goals, 4 assists. I believe 3 of them have basically come in the last 10 days or so, too. So, Coom, where are you at with who/what are the Oilers' most likely trade chips?
I really don't want them to trade their first-round pick this year. I'm going to go with one player I could really see getting moved is Philip Broberg.
Yeah.
It's kind of seemed between Woodcroft, who was known for developing young players well, and Chris Knoblaw. No one's really interested in giving Broberg much of a chance in Edmonton's blue line. There was always all this talk in the preseason, okay, he's going to play on the right side next to Ekholm, or when Ekholm wasn't there, he was going to jump up to the second pairing, and they just never really seemed to want to give him big minutes. And I don't know, maybe this is he's on the final year of his entry-level contract, hasn't established himself as an NHL defender. He might be the one going out if they want to upgrade the blue line.
Dan?
I think it's probably we're looking for our biggest trade chips.
It says who/what are most likely.
Oh, most likely. I don't know. I think you're probably looking at players that haven't played on this team yet this season. So the Borgos, the I'm trying to think of other names that aren't. Yeah, names aren't necessarily everyday NHL players. Those are just all on the board for me. And I'm with you, Coom. Don't trade that first round pick.
Right now, I think it's Warren Fogle because I don't think this team is a playoff team, and they will need to be moving out contracts to gain assets, unfortunately. Number 3, why does everyone seem to want Ken Holland to make a trade when it's obvious the Oilers are in a position of weakness? It's a sure loss. Kev, I'll say people want the Oilers to make a trade. I think this is more from the previous few days before the Carolina game, because they want his team to succeed and they believe this team's good. But I think we've now come to the end of that road, not to keep being a dampener on it. Coom will go right in the middle. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't want to be negative and be that guy, because nobody wants to say the season's being punted by U.S. Thanksgiving in late November. But the reality is you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl signed for years after this. There's one more Draisaitl year, 2 more McDavid years. You can think about next season. You don't have to go and make a big mistake right now. And I think a lot of people want to see the trade now, because I think they can see that if there was an ace goaltender in net, the team could be good. It is maybe just that, but it's so hard to get a goalie this time of year that making that risk and fucking yourself completely in the offseason long term to do that, it's just not worth it. So that's where I'm at with that. I said before, don't trade the first, don't attach anything to get rid of Campbell, deal with it in the offseason. Retool, figure it out in the offseason. Look, if you can figure this out this year and McDavid and Draisaitl can drag you to the playoffs, that's great, but don't be throwing away all your assets to fix this year.
Matthew?
Yeah, I think it's just Oilers fans want to see a reaction. They want to see that the management actually cares and cares about the future of this team and McDavid and Draisaitl. They don't want to see McDavid and Draisaitl become wasted again in their prime. It's similar to last season. Oilers fans were clamoring for a trade up until the Ekholm deal. It was every week, we need a trade, we need a defenseman, we need a defenseman. It eventually happened, but now they're feeling it's probably going to be a little too late considering where they are in the standings.
Dan, final thoughts on this?
I just think that this team is like, I think it's shown this week, especially, that all these like singular trade ideas that we have are just not going to answer the question. And so it's, you know, unless you're going to go out and make a trade for a guy that's going to stop goals and play better defense and score more goals for you, it's just not happening. I don't see anybody on the free market that's available for that. So it's not happening. Not fixing it that way.
So this next one is the last one, a bit of a hypothetical, because I would assume Rogers Place is due for a much-needed upgrade, and Mr. Cates needs your advice. Which of these would you choose to bring Rogers Place some new life? So there's 3 options. Number 1, a lower bowl standing room only behind the opposition net. Number 2, a 3rd-level gallery. Number 3, cup holders for everyone.
Well, all 3.
Yeah, all of the above.
You're hired.
Respect to this person who's come up with the.
Yeah, this is fun.
These are great.
I'll go number 1. I think the standing room behind the net would be good and bring a bit of an atmosphere.
Yeah, I like
That'd
that,
be cool.
actually.
European hockey style.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Dan?
The traditionalist in me believes that a 3rd bowl brings in the traditionalists like me that can't afford to pay for most games these days and would go and be louder than the people that can afford $200 tickets. So I would say, and I wish that Rogers Place had built it with that 3rd bowl in there anyways, I would say a 3rd bowl would help things. But I do love the idea of the behind the net, and I just punched myself with the microphone. Sorry, everybody.
Cool.
They got to bring back whatever those beer kegs they had at Rexall, Skyreach, whatever, North London.
Oh,
They
the
gotta bring those
lines.
things
You
back.
need the hoses.
Yeah, there was something else about those beers. They would like travel all the way up, and by the time they got to you, they were hitting you in a different way. But I also agree with the higher tier seat, the higher level seating there. That's always a blast. Having cheap seats, like that's what I always love to go to baseball games. Like get up there in the 500s.
That's exactly it. That's where the noise comes from.
Tickets, like that's the way to do it.
That's where the real
That's where the
fans
vibes come
live.
from.
Was? Wrap it up.
I'll be. You guys hit some pretty good ones. I'll just go. Yeah, more cup holders would be great, especially as someone who prefers to sometimes sit in the upper bowl because it's a great view. But like sometimes, like where do I put my drink? Someone's gonna knock it over. And funny enough, at the Jonas Brothers concert, I knocked over a group of girls candy because it was in a cup holder. So what I've learned is don't put a cup of candy in a cup holder. Actually, someone will walk.
You knocked over a cup that was in a cup holder?
You picked it up and threw it?
No, like
Savage.
I ran, my leg ran into it, and and I didn't even notice at the time. And my girlfriend's like, "You just spilled their candy." I felt really bad. I'm like, "I didn't mean to. I'm
You
sorry."
should have. You should feel bad.
That is very rude.
And he was even making fun of them after and everything.
He pointed and laughed.
Well, in the same breath,
laughing
as,
at them.
why do you have a cup of candy in there?
And now he's laughing at them on the podcast.
Unbelievable.
Well, you know what?
Wow.
Vengeance is a bitch.
That's rough.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the Idiots presented by Pack the Nation Truck
Let's go.
and Sherwood Ford. So Pack the Nation Truck. We'll step aside for a quick ad. Okay, I'm going to get Kennedy.
Got like 4 minutes here. 4-ish. Okay.
I just have my meeting in 4 minutes. I'll have to duck out here, and that's okay. It's all good.
Maybe Kennedy wants to sit in for 10
Yeah,
minutes.
she can do this.
Yeah, we just
Hot
don't
and
even
cold.
acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Bringing a whole
Kennedy's
new
here.
cast for the second half.
Oh, wait. All right. Kennedy's here. Kennedy, hello.
Hello.
I didn't set up the other mic, so my head is slightly tilted up whilst Kennedy stands. We are finding out if the thing is working. By thing, I mean audio board. And then I could just make this chair a little bit higher, I suppose. Nope, doesn't go higher.
This is
How we looking?
good radio.
We're good? Okay, here we go. Cooom, do you know how to play?
What?
Kennedy's going to
Kennedy's
have some quotes,
Okay.
and you have to guess who it is from the normal O&R cast. So it'd be me, Dan, BM, Tyler, or Rick.
Okay.
And then at the end, she'll play them.
Yeah.
She goes through it.
So there's 6 quotes. There's 2 of the same person. So it's not process of elimination, and you have to guess who said it. And it's like Liam said, the original O&R cast. Alrighty, here we go. So pens and papers. So the first quote is, "His teammates watch that shit." Who said it?
Rick.
No, you have to write it down.
Oh my! I don't have
Pens
pen
and
and
paper.
paper.
You
Take your
didn't.
phone.
Yeah, I guess.
Got it.
You make me
I got
work.
Unbelievable.
You try a game on the fly with 2 new cast members.
So that was a practice.
That was a practice. That was a test. Okay, so and we're going to do it all at the end.
We all know we're right.
Okay, so number 2 is I'm like a motherfucker. I'm so mad, and you're out there doing the Dougie. Who said it? Write it down.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Okay, number 3.
Was.
Well, your next contract's going to be a bit crazy, big guy.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4. Whoa, 10 grand?
Feel like I'm doing pretty well today, but you can see over my shoulder.
Number 5. Handful of frozen peas, just eating them like popcorn.
Okay, that seems like it might be a trick.
Oh,
It
man.
does seem like a sneaky one.
Oh, man.
And then number 6 is I think your filter sucks, bro.
No, that's not good. All right. Everyone good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kennedy, are we connected to the audio?
I believe so.
This is the coolest part of the quote.
Number
game.
1, which Cooom and Woz already ruined, but whatever.
Okay, so the number 1 was his teammates watched that shit. Liam Stark, who did you put down?
I put Rick.
Dan, who'd you put down?
I put Rick.
Coom, who'd you put down?
I put Rick.
Waz, who'd you put down?
Rick Weidman.
You ruined it.
Ready?
Oh, come on.
Here we go.
Guess.
Okay. It's not. Give it a second.
Because
Here we go. Takes a second. Okay, here's the audio.
with your talent, because other free agents watch that shit.
Oh.
People and young players, his teammates watch that shit. And if he...
That was a Dan quote.
I didn't think Dan swore.
I don't usually swear.
Wait, how did you not guess yourself?
That's usually
That's
how this
the
game
way-
goes.
What's going on here?
That's
This
how
game-
Kennedy wins, is
yes.
if you don't guess yourself.
Yep.
So
I go 0 for
I'm
every
very
time.
happy.
Coop.
You
Every
forget what
time.
you said on the
Yep.
podcast, Dan?
Every time.
Alrighty.
Number 2.
I'm like, motherfucker, I'm so mad, and you're out there doing the Dougie. Who said it?
That was BM. Nobody else knows the Dougie.
Yeah.
I guess Tyler.
I guess BM. I don't know who else talks that way.
Waz, who'd you put?
Put BM.
Here's the audio.
Who hits the dance floor first was Black Ace, Mark Fain, out there cutting a rug. And I'm just looking over at him. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm so mad. And you're out there doing the Dougie or whatever he was
That's a
doing.
guy.
So funny. Number 3. Well, your next contract's going to be a bit of a... your next contract's going to be a bit crazy, big guy.
I said Dan, but now I think it's Rick. But my answer is Dan.
I guessed BM.
BM.
I guess Liam for that.
Oh, could be anyone.
Here's the audio.
Silly to... Just to me, it's silly to keep doing this.
But can you imagine, like, last year of Draisaitl's contract, the Oilers are like, hey, man, we're playing you with Devon Shore all year. And it's like, what? It's like, well, your next contract's going to be a little crazy, big guy. Like,
Listen.
own it that.
They might have to do that this season. Maybe we need Devon Shaw.
Yeah, everything went south when he
The
left
look
there.
Liam just gave me. Well, I'm not going to say anything. That was a tie quote. Alrighty, number 4. Whoa, 10 grand. Who said it?
Tyler.
I said Tyler.
I said Tyler for this one as well.
Dan.
Sounds like a Tyler level excitement.
I guessed Liam.
Here's the audio.
Better hope nobody leaves the Oilers, otherwise that cap hit's going to go up and it's going to be an expensive steak dinner.
Like, while you're eating. Or like, hey, man.
Whoa, 10 grand?
Sorry.
That was a Liam.
Wow, congratulations.
I got these two mixed up.
Alrighty, number 5. Handful of frozen peas, just eating them like popcorn. Who said it?
I figured that was going to be BM making fun of Tyler. That's a trick question.
That's what I thought.
BM.
I guessed myself.
How do you not know, Dan?
Here's the audio.
I can't have any food
what do you need,
rules.
frozen
I'm
veggies?
Yeah, don't you
Hangover
have like a
day.
weird frozy veggie thing
I
that you
just,
do?
I just like eating frozen veggies.
Yeah, they're
You
just
still on that train?
Well, I was gonna say, hold on a second. Are you like
From frozen,
firing
though.
them back frozen?
Cook them.
Yeah.
It's a good drunk
Handful of
snack. We've
frozen
done this
peas is
before.
eating them like popcorn.
Oh, wow.
I can't.
This is not good.
Interesting.
That was a Rick
With
quote.
the Oilers right now.
Alrighty, last one, number 6. This could be anybody. I think your filter sucks, bro. Would we put down?
It's got to be Tyler.
I said Liam because I ran out of options, but I also never say bro.
Yeah, Tyler's the
So
bro
it's
guy.
just me.
I said Tyler because of the bro.
Yeah, it has to. No one else says
What are you
that.
doing, bro?
Tyler's 21 years old, yeah.
Here we go.
Woke up the next day and this other one is sucked up to the filter. I'm like,
Oh, my.
man.
I think your filter sucks, bro.
No.
There you go. It's so easy.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Young boy. Already, how we do?
2 for 6.
I got one.
Yeah, I got 2 for 6.
I got 3.
Wow.
Wow, congrats, Cooom. First
Cooom.
time.
No, I got
Smoking hot.
That was a
was.
random bun. Thank you very much, Kennedy.
Thank you, Leon.
We'll see you in the watch along in 1.5 hours.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Okay, Dan, do you have to rip or can you do hot and cold performers?
I can stay for hot and cold.
Okay, hot and cold performers.
I'm currently in my meeting.
What is oh nice. Start with vegetables.
Yes, we do.
Who's your cold performer of the week?
Well, obviously, it's easy to go to the Oilers. However, I will actually, it's something in my life. The referee in my soccer game, complete ass.
Yeah.
A lot of frustrations behind the bench. Nobody, it felt like he was kind of like he was running his own show, his own world.
Yeah.
Basically, apparently we learned that there's no advantage momentum. Like my buddy Brett here in the back, he fouled a guy or something. He's like, basically the ref's like, this isn't hockey, my guy. I'm like,
Well,
what? Okay, it's indoor.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ross's wife.
I'm upset.
There you go. I'm upset too. And Cooom, cold performer of the week.
Cold performer?
Cold performer.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll go back to my old reliable here, which is that the weather appears to be getting slightly colder. It's been a really good November thus far for weather, but it tends to be a bit colder this week than last.
That weather.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Yeah.
No!
Dan, cold performer of the week.
Well, I mean, it's my selfish one is YouTube because I'm currently in a war with YouTube on Hockey Fight social media. But for me, it's the Edmonton Oilers. We're 18 games into the season, and I'm sitting next to my buddy Cooom here, and I feel like we're right back in the decade of darkness. It's super freaking annoying to me in 2023. Like we did our time. We logged our time with this shit of an organization. We shouldn't be doing this anymore. So the Edmonton Oilers, just for your general performance this season, you're getting my cold performer of the week.
It's been up and down like a toilet seat. Really.
No, but it's just been down, Ken. You're
It's
wrong.
just been down.
Been a plugged toilet.
What?
Worst toilet seat ever.
Well, I already said my cold performer of the week. The fact I don't have hot water at my house right now is a bit of an obstacle in my life. I have to hand wash dishes. I got one of those old-fashioned laundry things. I don't actually have one.
Towel?
No. So the lack of hot water in my life.
Worse.
All right, let's flip it on the other way and end the week on a positive note. Dan, your hot performer of the week, please.
I just wrote it down and now I can't remember what it was going
They've
to
been
be.
good.
It's going to go to Jacob Trouba. If you hadn't seen this yet, he was at the end of the Pittsburgh Penguins game, and a fan had a sign for him that said, "Hey Trouba, your art sucks," which is a pretty good sign to bring to a game, troll a guy for something that has nothing to do with his play on the ice, have some fun with him. He took a screenshot of that and he posted it on his own account and gave the artist twinge to it, which is something about making people feel emotions and that kind of thing. And he just had some fun with it. So Jacob Trouba, you're going to get my hot performer of the week.
I'm staying alive.
I'm annoyed that I had to go outside of like the city of Edmonton, like all that. It just annoying to me.
It's a bummer. Cooom, hot performer. Not the weather.
Not the weather. It's getting a little colder.
But next week's weather.
Oh man, if it gets warmer next week, you know my answer. But for now, that wouldn't be it. But for me, it's going to be I purchased the Super Mario RPG game for the Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
Wow.
And it's very fun. I love
Massage.
Is that you singing over top of the Jones?
What was it?
Jones barbecue foot massage.
I don't know. It could be anything.
Interesting.
Was?
I'll give it to Jack Campbell. It was nice to see him smile after that shutout win, and everyone. It was just good vibes in Bakersfield, and it was funny to see some comments on Oilers Nation's Instagram. People like, just last week you guys were shitting on Jack Campbell. Look at you guys. I'm like, yeah, because he was not playing very well, and he deserved a criticism last week. So, but it's things change, and it's good to see him smiling. That's all.
One more time.
Fair enough.
My hot performer of the week. Last week, my co-performer was the fact that my dog had a pinched nerve and was not looking very good. This week, Charlie is thriving and has become the king of the kingdom once again, and he is doing very well. So let's find a button for the real King Charles, which is going to be... Oh, wrong one.
Open Gagne star. Hey, Sammy Gagne. Oh.
There you go, everybody. Shout out Dan for being here again for the second time this week.
I try.
Cam.
Best wishes.
For joining us. Be on the watch along. Woz for also joining us. He will also be on the watch along.
I'm here for the food.
What are we
there
getting?
for the third?
I don't know. We're getting some food. Pizza, maybe?
Ooh, from DoorDash, probably.
Ah, there you go.
There you go. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Oilers Nation Radio. Go Oilers.